Hello and welcome back to My Life's Toil. Welcome if it's the first time you're having a look. My name's Neil and this channel currently is dedicated to my weight loss journey, and I have been using Mounjaro since the end of February 2025 and currently doing quite well. But there's been a lot of things going on with Mounjaro as people that are in and around weight loss injections and using Mounjaro or thinking about using Mounjaro with pricing and things like that. So we've spent a bit of time looking at that over the last few weeks. We'll touch upon that a little bit in today's installment. But because I am very, very near, or last week was very near to my target weight, which was 15 stones for me, I wanted to talk a little bit about what is an ideal weight for somebody, how realistic is the ideal weight on the resources that we've got to have a look at what our ideal weights are. And also, a lot of people talk about BMI, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how realistic our BMI is, because this is something that's used absolutely everywhere in the medical field, and it's all we tend to have to go on. So the BMI, the body mass index, is something that it's been around for many years, and it's never really been sort of modified to realistically reflect on our true weight relation to health. Also today we'll be talking about my weight update. Did I meet target? What am I going to discuss around that? Because it might give you a little bit of a clue today why I'm talking about ideal weight and the BMI and things like that, because I think it might be a bit surprising, probably not so surprising to some people when we actually talk about it, how it doesn't really give us a true reflection on what our goals might be. Okay. We'll also have a little look at what the prices seem that they're going to be at the moment as well. We'll check in on the Monj site to see if there's been any changes on what the suppliers are going to be supplying the Mounjaro for, and also just touch a little bit upon the Wegovy side of things, because that is now looking like a very realistic possibility for a lot of people to try. And I know from people that have been messaging on the channel and on Facebook and emailing me as well, that it is something that many people are looking at doing, which can't blame them really, because I also will consider it more for the maintenance side of things. But everything could tie up during this video as to where I'm going with the if, buts and maybes type attitude that you might think I've got at the moment. And you'll see why, because I do want to talk about ideal weights, the BMI, and maybe our targets and how we're going to get there. But sorry I didn't get a chance to update on Wednesday. So it's been a week since I've done this. As you know, if you're following the channel, I try and get an update out on Wednesday and then one on the weekend and discuss how things have gone. Wednesday was just an absolute hectic day. I did actually start doing something, but didn't get around to editing it. So I thought it'd be pointless getting it out now. So I've started afresh today. It's Saturday today, the 6th of September, 2025. And we'll try and keep as up to date as we can. But one thing that I do want to touch upon, Wednesday was such a miserable day here. It was just dark most of the morning. It did brighten up later in the day, and it really felt like autumn was setting in over here. Now, I know that a lot of people around the world, which is really fantastic, tune into this, and they're probably thinking, what are you on about? It's still lovely here. And there's people in Northern Europe, they may be seeing things sort of look a bit more glum even sooner. I really love the summer months, I do, and it really helps me, which is why it's been a fairly good summer for me with the plan. The weight loss has gone really well, and I think, and I'm not going to go down the avenue of talking about mental health so much, although I do think that's really important, but I do think it plays a massive part in helping us along the route. You know, our mood means everything, doesn't it? And it can bring things to a grinding halt if we're just not having the best of days. I mean, I'm not saying that Wednesday was a bad day for me. I've still stayed on plan. I've been on target, and I've been eating healthy. But it's just like over here, especially in the UK, when those dark nights come, and it's only next month that the clocks change, so we'll lose an hour of light. And I don't like the winter months. I think I was born in the wrong country, but that's another story. But no, mood, especially through the winter. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily a moody type person, but we all have our struggles in life, and I know there's a lot of people out there that have been the same. And I think it's probably just the time of the year to just try and increase that. I'll go on about the positivity, and I'll always try and be positive where I can. And I think if we can do that with each other, with the comments that we leave on the channel, and I'll always try and do the best as well, just to try and keep things going through the winter months. And by no means, when I reach my target, will this stop. I'll keep doing this as long as people want me to do it. So, and if there's anything in particular, put my teeth back in, that you'd like me to discuss, then just drop a message. And on that note, a bit of an interesting point, I will be doing an interview with somebody tomorrow about their journey. And this is something weeks and weeks ago that I mentioned about doing on the channel, about bringing other people into it. I've already done that with the progress pictures, of which there are more today. So if you sent your pictures and your bit of information about yourself, look out for that, because these I find are really, really helpful. And I know that it helps other people. So already a well done to those people, but we'll get to them in a bit. That's something to look forward to later on. But initially, I want to talk about, and I've got the computer set up in front of me, so it will be a bit scripted if you see me looking down a lot. And I'll put up the information on screen as I discuss it as well. I was looking at my BMI last Sunday on the internet, and I'll go through that with you now, because I already know that it's not perfect. And that's a shame, because especially for the people that are looking to get on weight loss injections, if they're not meeting BMI targets, it can be quite upsetting, especially if you think that that it would help you. And we're using a really antiquated system to make decisions like that. But it's the best that we've got. But I just wanted to show you exactly how, and I'll go through and I'll put my information into one of the BMI charts over here through the NHS, which is through apps that we've got over here. So have a look at this, and this is what I went through when I put my details in. So if I go here, I've just put BMI calculator into Google, of all places, and the top one over here that's come up is NHS UK, calculate your body mass index for adults. And I think that is me. So click on that and it brings up this here. Use this service to check the BMI of an adult over 18, get information about what to do next. Who should not use this tool? If you're under 18, if you're pregnant, have been diagnosed with an eating disorder or think you may have one, have a condition that affects your height. If you are a child aged between 2 and 17, calculate BMI for children and teenagers, the specific part there. What you will need to use the calculator, you will need to know your height and your weight. Your ethnic background will also ask for details on that. And then it goes on. I won't go through. You can have a look if you really want to use it now. So click here to start now. Are you aged 18 or over? Yes, we've established that. What is your height? Now it's asking for in centimetres, and I can never remember in centimetres, so you can change it to feet and inches here. We'll put my height in there, and we continue. And what do you weigh? So I'm going to put last week's weight in, although I've done this week, so I'm not doing it live today, but we'll get to that in a bit. So last week's, I remember, it's 96 kilos, wasn't it? So 96 kilos, which I was pleased with because I'd lost a bit. And I am a white person, and I'm going to press calculate here. So now, according to the BMI, it's 25.8, my body mass index, and I'm still well into the yellow there, as you can see. What your results mean: A BMI between 25 and 29.9 is classed as overweight. An overweight result suggests you could benefit from making some healthy changes. If you want to lose some weight, working towards a healthier weight range could reduce the risk of long-term conditions such as type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Absolutely, good advice. But just on the BMI saga that I've been talking about, I found an article here from the University of Rochester, which says it's a medical centre. And I was just trying to find out. It seems that they do a lot of sort of publications and papers and things. And they're asking, well, they're reporting. It says, here's a weighty question for you. What is a healthy BMI? And it says BMI for years, the body mass index, has been the go-to tool for plotting our weight into categories: underweight, normal, overweight, and obese. BMI is a number that comes from a formula based on your weight and height. If your number is 25 or higher, you fall into the overweight or obese category. So then they ask, does that mean that a BMI over 25 is unhealthy? And they go on to say it's complicated, says a physician, Holly Russell, a doctor that's been reported on here, and I'll put some information on the screen. Many of us cling to the belief that a thin body is a healthy body, but recent evidence suggests that it's not necessarily true. For example, new research has shown that some people in the overweight BMI category have a lower risk of death from heart-related causes other than those with a normal BMI. Studies have also shown that BMI can mislabel a person's health when compared to objective measures like results from tests for cholesterol and blood sugar levels. I've seen stick thin people with high cholesterol. I mean, as you know, one of the reasons for me being on Mounjaro was about lowering my cholesterol, which has been really slow to do. And it didn't change very much at all, even with quite, like rapid weight loss that I've had. Whereas my blood pressure has changed quite quickly, and my blood pressure is in a really healthy range now. So I can understand that. And we all know someone that can eat and drink and smoke and do whatever they want with their bodies and not put a pound on. We've all seen those people, haven't we? Doesn't mean that they're healthy, does it? I used to work with a guy in the ambulances, and he used to eat so much more than me, but he was stick thin, whereas I was a big chub. And we used to talk about it constantly. He'd be stuffing chocolates and he'd be eating cheese and olives as a snack all day, and in his lunch when we got a break, just far outweighed mine. But he was stick thin, whereas I only had to look at his food and I put about £3 on. Do you know what? We've all seen these people, haven't we? So it's an interesting one just to back up really the BMI side of things. But yeah, if people are interested, I'll put the link for that on there just for people to have a look. But have a look at the BMI calculator as well. But don't get worrying too much about it. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're doing a bit more exercises, moving around where we can a bit more, you're making positive steps to a healthier you in any case. And at least we're thinking about trying to be healthier and improve on our lifestyles. So well done to us. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I've had so many people saying, do you need to lose any more now? And my wife's been saying it recently. She's saying, you are as thin as when I met you, which was when I was 17. And I get what I still know, and I've said this many times before, I've still got plenty of what I would say is fat on me. I know that I'm not a big fat person that I was before, and I feel much better. But 25.8, that's still overweight. And so is that target that I set when I wanted to hit 15 stones, I know it's antiquated system over here, is that just not realistic then? Because the other thing, what I want to do now is I want to check on what my ideal weight is. And this is a little bit eye-opening for me. Let's have a look. Now, I'm doing this a little bit blind because I've done many, and there isn't a particular NHS one. If you type in my ideal weight on something like Google, it just brings up BMI calculators for the NHS. So I'm going to go through a couple of different ones here, and I've already started on this one here, which is inchcalculator.com. And it says, ideal body weight calculator. Calculate your ideal body weight for your height using various formulas with the IBW, ideal body weight calculator. So gender here, male. Height is in inches. So 64, that's 72, 76 inches would that be, I think? Right, ideal weight is between 174 to 201 pounds. Now, this is interesting because this is what I've seen on other sites as well, where they've got formulas that aren't particularly up to date. The Robinson formula suggests I should be 179 pounds. That formula's from 1983. The Miller formula from 1983 also suggests I should be around 174 pounds. The Divine formula from 1974, going back even further, 191 pounds. The Hamwi formula from 1964 suggests I should be about 201 pounds. And the range for healthy BMI is suggesting that I should be between 152 and 205 pounds. What a massive difference that is. I think what I'm trying to say. I mean, let's have a look a minute. So last week in pounds, I was 212 pounds. So on all these formulas here, I'm still overweight. So I think what I guess I'm saying this week is that I'm not hitting target this week, and I'm going to readjust what I think my weight target should be. But which one out of these do I go for? And it's still quite a considerable weight drop, isn't it? So I'm 212 pounds now. If I go for the top one there, which is 205 pounds, which just gets me into a healthy BMI, that's still, what was it, 212? That's still £7 that I need to drop off, which is the way I'm going, or the way I have been going, is achievable, but it's so varied and so broad, isn't it? So it'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are on your target weights. Now, I know a lot of people haven't got target weights, they go with how they feel. And I really understand that, especially reading on some of this information here, because the advice is just really not there, is it? It's just like so broad and varied that it's like confusing in a way, because like me, when we were talking about, like a new target weeks and weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get down to 15 stone. That's what I had in my mind. And like you sort of get to around that weight, and then like, so let's see how I am with BMI and what everything's saying. And you realise that you're actually still far off it. Now, I'm not really disappointed in it. It's just like a bit of an eye opener more than anything. But it doesn't stop us, does it? It means that we keep going a little bit longer, which is interesting, because leading on from that, let me just stop this recording because it'll take up all my memory. There we go. My pen did show up this week. Now, if you watched last week, you know that I didn't know whether I was going to get the pen. I didn't get the email from Checkup that I normally do get. So I logged in and it did let me order one. I paid for it, I paid for postage, and it arrived. So I've actually stepped up to the 10 milligram pen, although I will still be split dosing down to what I'm doing now, which is 2 doses of 3.75 milligrams twice a week, leaving 72 hours at least between the jabs. Now, that's not part of what Eli Lilly's researchers told us that we should be taking it, because it still says it should be taken every 7 days. But many people are split dosing, micro dosing, if you will, and it's working really well for them. And I think this will be one of the ways forward for many people going ahead. But this is personally for me. I'm not recommending that you go out and split dose. Seek the advice, if you want to do that, just from someone that can check you over and keep an eye on you and give you the advice around that, whether that be your pharmacist or your GP or your physician. But it works for me, and this is just to document how it helps me and just to give and spread some positivity about how it does help. So 2 lots of 3.75, so that's basically 7.5 a week that I've recently stepped up to. And it works for me. Split dosing works for me. Even on the 5 every 7 days, I didn't feel great on that. Yes, I had a few other issues going on at the same time, but I just know it didn't really help me. Just the constipation, I had nausea, I felt rough, I just couldn't get up in the mornings, I felt awful. And I still have some of those things, like the constipation we talk about all the time. It's managed well. I have to keep on top of it. It hasn't lightened up, but it's manageable, and that's what we're looking for here. As I always say, the biggies that we are looking for is the severe side effects. Those are the big ones. I still see people, they message me saying they're having horrendous abdo pain, especially if it's upper abdo pain. We're thinking of the pancreas, the acute pancreatitis. Those things need checking out. Have a read through these, stop the video if you have to, look up. Your pharmacist or whoever's prescribed you with the medication should have warned you about these. Yes, I know I go on about it, but we do see people getting really poorly on these if it doesn't suit them. It doesn't mean necessarily that you'll have to come off, because I've spoken and I've had messages from people that have had pancreatitis. They've sort of dropped down, they've given it a bit of a rest, and they've eased back into it. And yes, the not official research, but certainly what seems to be happening is people that go through the doses as actually prescribed and suggested by Eli Lilly. The more you go up the doses, the more susceptible you are to having some sort of nasty reaction. Now, these reactions and these side effects can happen at any time. There are the very mild effects, like we can get injection site irritations and things like that. Those are the things that shouldn't really stop us from moving forward with the plan. It's the things like anaphylaxis, airway being compromised, where it just doesn't suit you, it's making you really poorly. Those are the things that we need to check out. Anyway, I've gone on about that enough. So now we're going to turn it more to the positive side of things. And what always lifts me up, and it lifts a lot of people up out there, is our progress pictures. So here we are. And thank you to Christine that tunes in and watches the channel. And if you look at this here, Christine, she says on her information, I'm going to be 60 on New Year's Eve, and I'm getting on, and I want to extend my life a bit longer for my little grandkids. I was pre-diabetic and had a high cholesterol of 9.3. Within 3 months, I wasn't pre-diabetic anymore, and my cholesterol was down to 5.5. Things are going nicely, and this week was the first time I put on a pound in all these months. Got another 1.5 stroke 2 stone to go. Very positive about getting there within the year of when I started, which was in February. Now, Christine, look at the difference in what you can see. The weight loss is absolutely fantastic there. I'm assuming you're feeling fantastic with this. Absolutely superb. I know I say this every time, but amazing results. You keep going, Christine, because that is fantastic. You must be feeling so much better. Excellent. Then we have someone that comments quite often on the channel, Georgina, and she says, "Hi Neil. Well, here are my Mounjaro start photos and my 1st of September photos, so only less than a week ago. I'm 64 in 2 weeks' time. 5'5". I started with Mounjaro on the 10th of April 25 at one of my lowest points in life. I was suffering with polymyalgia and 2 knees, that one was not repairable as full of arthritis, and one with a meniscus tear. Ouch, I hear you there, I've got the same. That was repaired last August. and told my kneecap was worn out. Ouch, that sounds nasty. I knew I had to do something because surgery was not possible while carrying so much weight. What can I say? Not good. So I researched Mounjaro and ordered my first pen. After feeling totally ashamed of the photos, I had to submit. The pen sat in my fridge for 2 weeks before I plucked up the courage to do it. I have never looked back. The best decision I have ever made. My first main goal was 5 stone, if it was possible. Today I have lost 60 pounds so far, 4 stone, 4 pounds. So I'm getting close to my initial goal, but now have added another 2 to 3 stone on that now, feeling it's possible. I was on the 2.5 milligrams for 9 weeks and then moved to 5 milligrams and still on it today. So you've stayed on a low dose and it's working for you, Georgina. Brilliant. And that's an advocate of how low doses can still work for us. It's working well for me. I no longer have polymyalgia and my knees are helped by a 3 monthly injection. I am bombing around like a 10-year-old and feel I can put a knee replacement off for some time now. I feel so good. I have my life back. I work full time and my hobby is riding, as you can see from this picture here. I didn't ride for nearly 2 years, but I am back in the saddle. Your channel and community are fabulous. Oh, thank you. And it keeps me focused. Well, you lot keep me focused as well, so that's brilliant. But Georgina, look at the difference in these, and I'll put them all on together. So there's your starting. So that was 17 stone, 10 pounds, 248 pounds, and that was on the 11th of April. And then 13 stone 6, 186 pounds on the 1st of September. You look a different person. Do you know what? You look happier as well. Well done, ladies, to both of you. Superb, and thank you so much for sending them in. Absolutely amazing. I was having a little browse of the, the monj.co.uk app that I've mentioned before, where you can get the full list of all the sellers of Mounjaro. And if you go onto their website here, I'll put the link up on the details of the video as well. On the first page that you come to, it's got the discount Mounjaro list, the retail list, the additional support price list, but then a big banner, as you can see here, looking for Wegovy. And obviously it's good advice because again, we can look at where the best prices are, and if we are suitable, if we can be accepted to move over to Wegovy, which a lot of our current suppliers are sort of signposting us towards, aren't they? So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I do know that there's people out there that haven't got on with the Wegovy semaglutide before the Mounjaro. So I do feel for those people that feel that they might be stuck. But is it worth trying again? Is it just that it wasn't as good? Is it something I'm just feeling when I get to that stage? I don't know what will happen after the pen I've got, but when I get to that stage, and I'm going to have a look at the prices now, it might be a move over to Wegovy, but I wonder what the prices of Wegovy are like now. Let's have a look at the retail price list. Right, so, that's small, isn't it? Let's have a look there. So right at the top, it's all in alphabetical order again. Let's have a look. So right at the top, for example, a 2.5 milligram pen from Asda Pharmacy, which is UK based, obviously, but it gives us an idea. And the price issues are around the UK at the moment. I know they're already really expensive in other countries. Italy, someone that's been on the channel is telling me that it's expensive there. We know the US is expensive. And there's been some information about the compounded Mounjaro in America, hasn't there? There's been that big lawsuit going on, and it's looking good. I haven't kept an eye on that, actually. Maybe someone could enlighten me as to how that's gone, because I think from what I've been hearing and just in discussion with people, Eli Lilly have been a little bit ridiculed for the way they've gone about it, especially their legal team with the type of evidence they took into this thing. Now, I don't know too much about it. It's only what people have sort of said in passing to me, and I certainly haven't read up about it. This is where you've got a company that makes a version of Mounjaro tirzepatide to help. It's like a compounded version. And of course, Eli Lilly have taken them to court over it. And I'm not sure exactly how that's gone, that'd be an interesting one to report on. I'll have to do some reading. So I'm not going to say too much about it now because I don't know the full details and I'll only get it wrong. And I like to go in armed. But if you know, put it in the comments and people can read up about it. You can have a look on the internet anyway. But let's have a look at, so a 2.5 milligram pen with Asda currently, £168.97. 5 milligram pen, £198.97. All the way through there, have a look up to the 15 milligrams, which is nearly barely £300. Let's have a look at my provider. Now, I got mine last week, right the last death. I ordered my pen on the 31st of August, the day before the new prices came in, with checkup, and I got it for £189 for a 10 milligram pen. And I was pleased that it actually arrived because I wasn't sure if it was going to come. Now, checkup isn't on here. Now, am I on the right page here? Because there was a discounted list here. Let's have a look at here. No, the prices seem to be the same on the other list. Let's see. Now, click to pharmacy. Checkup actually isn't on here now. This list is not as comprehensive as it first was. So let's have a look. So let's go to the expensive. See, it highlights the ones that are quite cheap. Saying here, get a drip, £115, but there's a couple of asterisks next to it there. So let's see what the key is saying. Nothing, I can't find it. So what does the asterisk actually mean? Right. So if you're interested in having a look, it might be better that you just take your time and have a look. If you want to stay on Mounjaro and you think that you can get it cheaper, this is the place to look. It's Monj, so that's monj.co.uk, and it will take you to their main page, and it's got my old supplier there, Juniper, which is saying that the starting pen is £124. See, these prices are still pretty good, aren't they? MediExpress on here, starting pen is £179.99. See, that's quite a lot more, isn't it? So I don't understand why they're so different. Obviously, they're just putting their prices, their own profits onto it. They've got the overheads. And let's face it, some of these people offer more than just the pen. With checkup, as you know, I just get the pen, no support. And that's fine because I get my support from you guys here. Whereas companies like Juniper will give you an app, they send you scales, they send you the tape measure, and they've got online support, which was brilliant at the start, but I don't know what it's like now because I'm not with them. But it waned a little bit, obviously, as the numbers went up, and I don't think they could keep up with demand. At the start, if I was asking any questions, which wasn't very often, they'd get back to me quite quickly, and they'd check in with me once a week. Whereas as that went on, that became less and less, and the responses to any questions I asked became longer and longer. But that's how things go. Right then, this is what people tend to like to see an update on, as well as the progress pic. Let's do my weight update. You don't have to watch me get on the scales or get stripped off this week. We'll just go straight into it because I've already done it. So last week's weight, I was 96 kilos, 212 pounds, 15 stone, 2 pounds. This week, I am, and I've rounded this up a smidge because it was 0.9, I'm now 95 kilos, which is 209 pounds. And I'm in the 14 stone bracket. So I'm 14 stone, 13 pounds, which is, now, if you ask me when the last time I was in the 14 stones, I was probably wearing a school uniform, honestly. So this is probably the lightest I've ever been as an adult. That's saying something, isn't it? That's saying something indeed. But according to all these calculators, as we've been looking at, I am still overweight. So I need, and I'm going to set a new target. And it is the upper target. I think it was £207. So this might not be the end goal target again, which I sort of hit my target, didn't I? I set a target in my head. I was 15 stone, and I beat it. I beat 15 stone. I'm 14 stone 13 now. But I want to get this right, and I want to be able to say that I was able to hit the targets that I set and the ones that science is telling us, although the science is, well, like out of date. So wish me luck. Anyway, so that's the weekend update done. I promise I'll try and get on Wednesday, even if it's just a short update for you. So have a great weekend. Keep the comments coming. Speak to you next week or in the week. Any questions, I still try and get through them and get back or point you in the right direction. But have a good one. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.